4th October 2020, the 27th Sunday of the ordinary times of the liturgy. The minimum requirement of love is justice. Without justice, there cannot be genuine love. Our God is God of love, but His love may go beyond justice, but it will not deny justice. My dear friends, today's first reading from the book of Isaiah, chapter 1, verses from 1 to 7, and the gospel passage from Matthew, chapter 21, verses 33 to 43, speak of a vineyard to convey very important messages. In the first reading, the Israelites are compared to a vineyard, and the owner is God, who takes a very good care of the vineyard. He does all possible things to keep it healthy, but unfortunately, it does not produce good fruits. Rather, it gives thorns and bushes. So God is highly disappointed. He destroys the vineyard. A similar incident is given in the gospel passage. The owner leaves his vineyard to the tenants and goes far away. When the time has come to collect the produce, he sends his servants to collect them. But the tenants attack them very badly and kill some of them. And when the owner finally sends his own son, they kill him also. When the owner realizes it, he comes in person to punish them severely and takes away to give it to others who would be faithfully give him the due. This parable gives us lots of insights. We just focus on two of them. One, the tenants refuse to pay the rent as per the earlier agreement. Why? It is because of their selfishness. They do injustice, refusing to pay someone what is due to him or her is injustice. Not to keep up one's legitimate promise is immoral. Above all, the tenants are criminally greedy to seize the wealth and properties what don't belong to them. The vineyard belongs to the owner, and they are only tenants, but they want to appropriate it immorally. They want to go by shortcut ways to take away the property from the owner, so they go even to the extent of killing the servants and his own son. But when the owner returns, he severely punishes them and takes away the property back. They did not realize that whatever comes in a shortcut manner will not last longer and it will even destroy us. Oftentimes, we are also tempted in our lives to appropriate what belongs to others. We don't act justly. We try very many unjust, illegal, and immoral ways to take away what belongs to others. But we must realize that whatever comes in a shortcut way, in an immoral way, will not last longer. Not only it would not do any good to us, but also it will even destroy us. Once, four young men in a village were suffering without any job. They were very much disturbed and frustrated. They were walking through a forest aimlessly. They sat down under a tree to take some rest. As they were scratching the ground there, they found something valuable under the ground. They began digging further, and to their great joy and shock, they came across a big box of treasure full of gold and jewels. They were very glad as the treasure would bring a new life to them. As they were carrying it and going through the forest, they came across a holy man, a rishi. They asked him for some good suggestions as to what to do with that treasure. The holy man simply asked them, "Is the box yours?" They said, "No." "Did you work for this treasure?" They said, "No." Then the holy man said to them, So it does not belong to you. You leave it in the place where you found it. The owner might take it later. Because the treasure does not belong to you, not only it will not help you, it will even kill you. But the young men thought to themselves how it would kill them because it is going to give them a new life. So they decided to take it to the village in the night, so they stayed back in the forest. They felt hungry, so two of them went into the village to buy food for the other two. When the two went away, the remaining two made a conspiracy. If we kill those two as they return, we both can divide the treasure among ourselves and we can get double the amount of the treasure rather than sharing it among four of us. So they carried a big stone and sat at the top of a tree, waiting for the other two to return from the village. When they returned, they dropped the big stone upon those two fellows and killed them. Then they came down and ate the food in a hurry as they were very hungry. But after a few minutes, they vomited blood and they also died. Because those two fellows who went into the village, after eating food, they mixed poison in the remaining food to kill these two fellows so that they could divide the treasure into two parts to get the double the amount of the treasure. Now, all the four are killed. What the rishi told became true. The treasure for which they did not toil would be dangerous to them, and even it would kill them, and it did so. Yes, for any genuine achievement, be it may money or good name or character or reputation or status or friends, whatever may be, we need to pay the price for it. And the second insight would be this: as the owner returns to the vineyard and punishes the unfaithful tenants and removes the vineyard from them to give to some others who would be faithfully giving the due, the owner is projected as God who acts justly. Yes, our God is God of justice. It is true our God is God of love, but that love certainly involves justice also. God cannot tolerate the injustice and exploitation of the powerful over the simple, the poor, and the marginalized. It is like parents' love for their children. Let us say they have two sons. They love both of them very much. Supposing the elder son bullies and harms his younger brother, naturally, the parents will not allow him to do that. They will certainly prevent the elder one. They may punish him for the harm that he is doing to his younger brother. Of course, they love the elder son also, but that does not stop them from punishing him for doing wrong towards his younger brother. Similarly, God is certainly loving, but He will not tolerate when we exploit and ill treat our fellow brothers and sisters. Our God is God of love, but the minimum requirement of love is justice. Love may go beyond justice, but love cannot deny justice. Love may give more than what justice demands, but it will not reduce from what is due. We may say, I love others, but I must do what justice demands of me. I may go beyond justice to do or give more, but I cannot deny what justice demands. For instance, I tell my elderly parents at home, I love you. But if I don't do what justice demands from me, namely, taking care of them, providing them with the basics to make their lives comfortable, then what is the use of saying that I love them? My love for them then is meaningless if I don't do what is expected of me as a son or daughter. Yes, the minimum requirement of love is justice. So let's be aware that God expects justice from us. Let us be ready to pay the price for any genuine victory and realize that our God, who is love, is also God of justice. Let us reflect upon this today. Thank you.